Climate change might be a bit of an issue as we've had very extreme weather here in the United States. Of course, knucklehead conservatives will be like, oh, I thought you said it was global warming, but it's kind of cold outside. But that's not really how it works. You get extreme weather in both directions. And there is one person who's concerned about it. It's Secretary of State John Kerry speaking in Indonesia, and he made some really strong comments. He said, in a sense, climate change can now be considered another weapon of mass destruction, perhaps the world's most fearsome weapon of mass destruction. Now, in Indonesia, they have 17,000 islands, some of which could be underwater if this climate change continues. So he says to them, it's not an exaggeration to say that the entire way of life that you live and love is at risk. So within that context, comparing it to a weapon of mass destruction is strong but understandable. And then he has takes a shot at the people who disagree. He says, we should not allow a tiny minority of shoddy scientists and extreme ideologues to compete with scientific fact. So, what are the good folks on television in America going to do? Exactly that. They're going to allow some ideologues to compete with scientific fact. So, now, let me give you some context for this. We're now, of course, in 2014. In 2013, how did the Sunday talk shows do in terms of coverage of climate change as an issue? They gave a total of 27 minutes to the topic, which is unbelievably low. Well, Meet the Press used to be the leader in this category, so of course they must have covered it more. You can see where this is going. They covered it less. In fact, they covered it 0 times. They gave it 0 minutes and 0 seconds of coverage. But that's okay because they're going to fix it. In fact, because of the extreme weather we're facing in America, all of the shows, Fox News Sunday and then Face the Nation, this week with George Stephanopoulos, and Meet the Press all covered it this week. And there was some good climate scientists on ABC and CBS. But Meet the Press went in a slightly different direction. David Gregory was excited and he tweeted out, plus only on Meet the Press, debating climate change with Bill Nye, the science guy, and Vice Chair of Energy and Commerce Committee, Marsha Blackburn. Now, first of all, Bill Nye is a great guy. I've had him on as a guest as the Young Turks. He's smart, he's great. But he's not a climate scientist, right? And Marsha Blackburn is not just a global warming denier, she's proud of it. So what are they doing here? 2 main problems. One, they're setting up a debate that appears to be 50-50 when it is not 50-50 among the scientists, not remotely, as I'm about to show you, right? Second of all, it sets up Bill Nye for an attack that Marsha Blackburn is going to do, saying, you're not a climate scientist. I mean, why do they pick Bill Nye? He's good on TV, right? He's good at debating. He just had a debate with a creationist that did really well. So they thought, oh, great. Okay, we'll get some of the good ratings off that. We'll have Bill Nye. And he's the science guy, get it? And then he'll compete with Marsha Blackburn and they'll just duke it out. Now, does that help in terms of the audience getting to what is reality about climate change? That's secondary concern. Now, why do I say that? Because let me give you the numbers. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change concluded that there's a 95% chance that humans are responsible for global warming. 95% chance is not 50-50. It's not the science guy versus Republican. They're both legitimate. I don't know, let's find out who's got the better argument, who's the better debater, right? If you're not convinced by that, well, maybe the scientists are split on it. Maybe overall they're 95% confident, but some scientists really, there's a big batch of them that disagree. 97.1% of climate research papers agree that climate change is caused by human activity. Not that it exists, it clearly exists. 97.1% are convinced it's man-made, okay? Now, like I said, the other shows that had climate scientists on, they did have Governor Pat McCrory on Face the Nation. Bob Schieffer did hold his feet to the fire a little bit. But remember that Governor Pat McCrory, who's the governor of North Carolina, which is now facing extreme weather again, had said earlier, quote, global warming is in God's hands. So that expert was also on the Sunday talk shows. But let's turn back to Marsha Blackburn, because Marsha, well, she's of course just a person with an opinion on this, and it's not like she's colored or by any of the things that she might be receiving. What would be the things that she would be receiving? Oh, right, campaign donations from oil and gas companies. In fact, they're in her top 3 donors. They gave her in 2013, 2014, $38,500 to bribe her. I mean, to influence her. I mean, to just help her run her campaigns because they both happen to coincidentally agree. They happen to be in the 2.9% of people who think that climate change does not exist or is not man-made. What a wild coincidence. By the way, look at how cheap these people are bought. But I'm sure Meet the Press brought that up. Hey, you get about $40,000 in campaign donations just last year, right? From oil and gas companies. No, they didn't bring that up. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so instead this debate ensued. First, Marsha Blackburn.
And I think that Bill would probably agree with this. Neither he nor I are a climate scientist. He is an engineer and actor. I am a member of Congress. And what we have to do is look at the information that we get from climate scientists. As you said, there is not agreement around the fact of exactly what is causing this.
They are good at debating. You see, you brought on an actor. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But wait a minute, then that's Meet the Press's fault. They could have brought on a climate scientist. And Bill Nye, like I said a million times, is a great guy, a smart guy. He's able in this debate, etc. But she gets to discredit him because of what Meet the Press did. And then she turns around and says, well, not all the scientists agree. Now, technically, that's true. 2.9% of the papers don't agree. 97.1% of them do. But technically, they don't all agree, 50-50. So then Bill Nye strikes back.
What people are doing is introducing the idea that scientific uncertainty, in this case about cold weather events in what we call back east, is the same as uncertainty about the whole idea of climate change. And this is unscientific, it's not logical, it is a way, apparently, that the fossil fuel industry has dealt with our politics. And this is not good. Everybody, you don't need a PhD in climate science to understand what's going on. That we have overwhelming evidence that climate is changing, that you cannot tie any one event to that is not the same as doubt about the whole thing.
See what happened there? Look, again, he makes good points. There's nothing wrong with his points. But he's on the defense. He's saying, well, you don't need a PhD in climate science to know that. And she laughs like, see, got you. You're not a climate scientist. But wait a minute, 97.1% of climate scientists do agree. No, I got you, sorry, right? And he's trying to explain, oh, look, because she had said earlier, just one weather event doesn't mean that it's happening. That's true. But it's not just one weather event. It's an accumulation of all of the evidence. And at one point, David Gregory did mention in the debate, he said, look, now to be fair, Congresswoman Blackburn, you said there is not a consensus among scientists, and there is a consensus. So give him credit for that a little bit. But overall, in the scope of this, what does the audience see? Audience sees a debate where, damn it, Jim, they're not climate scientists. They're just watching a TV show. And it looks like half the people think this and half the people think that, because those are the two people on my screen. They disagree. It looks 50-50 when it's not 50-50.